That's adorable. What's next? You gonna sell lemonade too? The words fell like stones, sharp, loud, meant to hurt. The man in the tailored cobalt suit didn't stop walking. His entourage, 5 men in polished Oxfords and ego-heavy laughter, followed his lead, chuckling like a bad studio audience. But Zuri and Zola didn't move. They stood side by side, two identical 11-year-old black girls, clutching their homemade invention like it was the only thing holding them upright. A toy car, about the size of a shoebox, built from cracked plastic, paper clips, soda bottle caps, and wires that clearly weren't from a toy store. Beside them, taped to an old cooler box, was a cardboard sign written in smudged Sharpie. "Help us save our mama. $10 only." People passed by like always. Some glanced, some laughed. Most looked away. Two teenagers stopped and took a photo. "Tag it Poverty Engineering," one whispered. Then came Cameron Locke, billionaire CEO of LockTech, self-declared genius, walking PR machine. He paused mid-step, sunglasses low, that trademark sneer curling up. "What is this?" he asked loudly, gesturing to the car. "You two made this junk yourselves?" Zuri lifted her chin. "Yes, sir. We just need—" He cut her off. "Oh, please, this is Silicon Valley, not a garage sale." Then, much before anyone could stop him, he lifted his Italian leather shoe and brought it down hard on the toy car. A sharp crack. The front axle snapped. The hood crumpled. Gasps rippled. Some people stopped. Most kept walking. No one intervened. Zola flinched, eyes trembling, but Zuri didn't. She only glanced down, then turned slowly to her twin. Zola whispered, "It's broken." Zuri replied calmly, "No, it's starting." She reached into her backpack, pulled out an old scratched tablet. She opened a single note, typed one word, "Now," and sent it. No tears, no screaming, just a calm click. The kind of calm that comes right before everything changes. The LockTech Global Innovation Expo was a storm of ambition. Neon lights flashed over glass booths. LED screens screamed buzzwords. Investors milled like sharks, all teeth and briefcases, while young founders pitched dreams with caffeine and desperation. But just beyond the security gate, where the glamour dimmed and the asphalt cracked, two little girls sat on a folded blanket next to a crushed toy car. Zuri and Zola had been there for 3 days. They slept in the back of a rusting donated van, parked 2 blocks down. They ate whatever passersby offered, half a sandwich, a bottle of water. Their mother, Mariah Jennings, lay unconscious in a county hospital across town. Kidney failure, stage 5. Dialysis costs had gutted them, no insurance. They had raised $143 every day they set up their sign. Every day they held out hope. And every day Cameron Locke's sleek blue booth stood just 15 feet away. Polished chrome, digital demos, and a staff trained to smile and sell. Every time the girls appeared, his crew had a new line. "Still here? Must be a school project. Hey, someone offer them a lemonade stand too." People heard. People saw. But no one stepped forward, except Mariel Tran. She stood inside the booth, a mid-level LockTech engineer, tucked behind a stack of prototype manuals. She watched the girls each morning, how they set up the toy car gently like it still worked, how Zola fixed the signs tape, how Zuri stood guard like a soldier. "This isn't right," Mariel whispered one afternoon to a fellow engineer. "Someone should stop this." The other woman didn't even look up. "You want to lose your job?" Silence, again. But the murmurs started, among interns, among tech aides, among the overlooked. "Did you hear? They say that little one built it herself. No adult help? There's a video." A shaky phone recording surfaced. Zuri in a dim garage holding a soldering iron with cracked hands. Zola flipping circuit sketches, nodding. It wasn't viral, but it traveled. Too late. The car was broken. Zola's eyes hadn't left it. And Locke? He was laughing somewhere behind the LED curtain. Then, just as the afternoon crowd surged, a black SUV pulled up outside the gate. No one paid attention. Not yet. But something had just shifted. Zuri didn't blink. She didn't step back, didn't look at the broken car, didn't flinch at the phones pointed in her face. Her hands stayed at her sides. Her chin lifted slightly, not in defiance, but in knowing. She looked up at Cameron Locke, the towering man with the billionaire grin. Her voice was soft. "We can fix it." He laughed immediately, too loud, too proud. "Sweetheart, that thing was never working in the first place." Behind her, Zola knelt down slowly, her small fingers carefully gathering the shattered pieces of their invention, like it was something sacred. The crowd chuckled, recorded, whispered. "Still trying? God, this is sad. Post that. Title it Silicon Fail." But Zuri didn't hear them. She didn't need to. Her eyes were on Cameron, her mind somewhere else. Calculating. Quiet. Like a storm off the coast. Unseen, but coming. From inside the Loctech booth, Mariel Tran stepped forward. She'd seen enough. "Leave them alone," she said. Not loud, just firm. Cameron turned, instantly annoyed. "Excuse me? This isn't right," Mariel continued, voice a bit louder now. "They're kids." But Cameron barked, louder than her. "This is a private expo. You need a vendor permit, not a sob story. If you want to help them, write a check and move along." The silence that followed wasn't empathy. It was fear, the kind people obey. Zuri turned to her sister and whispered, "Ready the battery core." Zola gave a silent nod, pulling a half-bent cylinder from her backpack. No panic, no pleading, just preparation. Zuri faced Cameron again. Her tone was calm, almost kind. "We'll show you what it can do." Cameron smirked. "Fine. Make a fool of yourselves one last time, then security escorts you out." As the crowd jeered, a quiet tension fell like a sheet of glass. Clear, fragile, ready to break. From the black SUV, a woman stepped out. Mid-40s, no badge, no press pass, just sharp eyes and stillness. She didn't speak. She just nodded toward the twins, and Zuri nodded back. The tide hadn't turned yet, but the current had started moving. Zuri smiled. Just a flicker. Just the corner of her mouth curling. The kind of smile that knew something no one else did. It was the first time she'd smiled in days. Without a word, she knelt beside Zola and unzipped her worn-out backpack. From it, she pulled a second prototype. Smaller than the first, smoother. The chassis was shaped from salvaged drone parts, the wheels from repurposed 3D printer gears. The paint was uneven, but intentional. Black with a single red stripe down the middle. Zola opened her palm. The battery core glinted faintly in the sunlight. Dented, taped, but functional. She clicked it into place with the care of someone who believed in it. From the booth, Mariel Tran stepped forward again. She didn't speak this time. She just extended her hand. A screwdriver. Zuri took it. Their fingers touched. Just briefly. Cameron scoffed. "Oh, look at that. Now the interns are helping. Should I send out Loctech t-shirts while we're at it?" The joke didn't land. The crowd had grown. Not cheering, just watching. Phones were up again, but this time no one laughed. The silence was shifting. Zuri turned to Zola. They exchanged no words. They didn't need to. Zola tightened the screws. Zuri connected two tiny wires. The car whirred faintly. She stood, toy in hand. Then with slow precision, she placed it on the hot asphalt. It didn't look like much. Just a handmade toy in a sea of million-dollar tech. But it sat there like it belonged. Zola took a step forward, barely louder than a whisper. "Clear the way." Nobody moved. Zuri looked up. Her stare didn't shout. It didn't plead. It held the kind of certainty that silenced a room. One by one, people stepped back. The mocking shifted to murmurs. The cameras didn't shake. They focused. Zuri bent down and tapped a button beneath the car's rear bumper. It clicked. A red light blinked. And then, for the first time all day, maybe all week, no one said a word. Zuri tapped her tablet. The screen came to life. A patchwork of handwritten code and salvaged interface panels. A quiet whir broke the silence. The car moved, not jittery, not random, smooth, purposeful. It rolled forward 5 feet, paused, reversed, then swerved around a discarded soda cup on the pavement as if it had eyes. It did. A tiny salvaged camera lens pivoted from the front bumper, tracking light, movement, depth. People leaned forward, phones tilted, brows furrowed. Then the whispers began. That's obstacle avoidance logic. She's running sensor mapping. No way. Is that LiDAR from a broken phone? Zola tapped a secondary button on her own cracked tablet. The car stopped. A tiny antenna on its back lit up blue. It scanned its surroundings, pivoted, detected the crowd, and, without human control, reversed along a different path. No remote, no joystick, just logic, just learning. Inside the Loctech booth, Mariel's boss, an engineer with 2 degrees and zero humility, blinked hard. This is AI integrated. That's a reinforcement loop. They're not copying, they're innovating. He looked at Marielle. Where the hell did they get this? She didn't answer. Her eyes were on the twins. The crowd had changed. No more chuckles, no more smirks. Phones were still out, but now they were recording for insight, not ridicule. Cameron took a single step back. For the first time, his mouth didn't move. Then voice low, sharp. Who built this? Zuri didn't look up. She didn't blink. We did. The toy car returned to her foot, paused, and parked itself. Dead center. Still. Silent. Perfect. And for a moment, even Silicon Valley had nothing to say. The toy car spun one final arc, then came to a complete stop, aligned perfectly at Zuri's sneakers. It hadn't crashed. It hadn't faltered. It had learned. And that's when the clapping started. First a slow, unsure pair of hands, then more, louder, scattered applause folding into something real. Marielle was smiling now, not out of pity but awe. Cameron stepped forward, red with disbelief. They didn't build this kind of tech, this level. It's stolen, probably from some open source project or a college lab. There's no way 2 street kids coded that. The applause paused. Doubt returned, briefly. Then Zola moved, calm, steady. She pulled out a weathered manila folder and opened it in full view. Blueprints, hand-sketched in pencil, annotated in Zola's neat block letters. Circuit paths, power load distribution, motion algorithm drafts. Every page signed, every page dated. Zuri stepped forward. No words. Just a small USB drive placed in the hands of Cameron's own assistant. He hesitated, then plugged it into a Loctech display monitor. The screen lit up. Dozens of code files. Each line traced, each function time-stamped. The source? IP. San Francisco Central Public Library user. Guest 043-ZJ. Cameron went pale. The assistant looked up. It's legit, all of it. No one laughed now. An investor at the back murmured to his colleague, "This isn't a stunt. This is original." Another voice added, "They don't just know what they're doing. They built something none of us thought was possible." All eyes turned to Zuri. For the first time, she looked up. Fully. Her chin lifted, her voice clear. "We just wanted to save our mom." The crowd didn't cheer. Not yet. Instead, they went still. The kind of silence that comes not from confusion, but from respect. Even the phones lowered. And suddenly, the power in the room belonged to 2 girls who had spent 3 nights sleeping in a van. The woman from the black SUV finally moved. She passed the silent crowd like wind parting still leaves. Heels deliberate, expression razor-sharp. Cameron Locke, smug a moment ago, now stood rooted in place. Then his jaw clenched. "Vanessa," gas rippled. Vanessa Rhodes, CEO of Rhodes Robotics, Loctech's fiercest competitor. One of the most powerful women in tech. Her tailored suit caught the afternoon sun. Her tone, cold steel. "These girls," she said, nodding toward Zuri and Zola, "are under my watch." Silence cracked into murmurs. Marielle whispered to a colleague, "She's the one Zuri messaged." Vanessa pulled out her phone, tapped once, held the screen up. An email. Subject, urgent from Zuri J. to Vanessa Rhodes. Time 2:03 p.m. They're mocking us. Please come. Proof. Delivered. Unshakable. Zuri stood quietly, her hands behind her back. Vanessa turned to her, voice now warm. You two built that in 6 weeks? With salvaged hardware and no guidance? She looked back at Cameron. That's more than your team has done in 6 months with a $20 million budget. Cameron's smirk had vanished. He looked like a man realizing the floor beneath him was glass and cracking. Vanessa continued. I met them at a community robotics event 2 months ago. They asked the hardest questions in the room. No one noticed. I did. She turned to the crowd. They're not interns. They're not prodigies. She paused, letting the words land. They are proof that genius doesn't need privilege, just opportunity. People shifted. Investors leaned in. Phones went up again, this time to record history. Zola glanced at her sister. Zuri, still composed, allowed herself the smallest smile. The crowd no longer saw pity. They saw power. Vanessa tapped her phone once. The massive display behind the Locktech booth flickered, then lit up. A hush fell. A video began to play. Cameron Locke, laughing, sneering, stomping on the twins' first prototype, his voice loud and clear. What is this? A joke? Laughter from his team echoed. Then another clip. A Locktech employee leaning over to a camera, chuckling. Dumb little street kids with a science project? The room turned cold. Investors murmured. Some stepped back. A few walked away entirely. Vanessa didn't flinch. She swiped again. A new file appeared on screen. Locktech email, dated 3 weeks ago. Subject, application review, Zuri and Zola Jennings. Thank you for submitting your project. However, your idea is unqualified, unscalable, and unrealistic. Their own rejection, public, documented, unforgivable. Zola stepped forward. Her voice carried. You didn't believe in us. You laughed at us. You tried to break us. We just wanted to save our mom. Silence. Vanessa turned to Cameron, eyes sharp. You mocked what you couldn't understand, and now you'll answer for it. Cameron tried to speak, but his phone vibrated in his pocket. He looked down. Locktech board alert.